means.
How's it going, everyone? And today we are playing Borderlands and finding out, can you beat Zombie Island of Dr. Ned's with only your fists? Now this run is pretty straightforward and pretty simple actually. We can only have a weapon in our hands at any given moment if we are going to throw grenades, otherwise we are keeping them holstered or not on us whatsoever. Now, we are also only using our fists, aka in this situation, Brick uses a steel pipe, and his actual fists for his ultimate. Now, this run was pretty fun in the very start, but then got pretty annoying after, and I'll explain why as we're running down the video and going through it. But yeah, it got a little annoying pretty fast. So we meet up with the Dr. Ned's zombie little guy of Claptrap, who's totally not an undercover spy trying to kill us this entire period that we're here, and probably has one of the funniest little capture sequences in any given game. We then hear this mysterious audio log. Then we go and fight some zombies for the first time. Now these are pretty easy. These are an absolute cakewalk. But we already started to notice one of our first issues with this entire run, and that was going to be the vomiters or spitter zombies. Now these guys were an absolute bane in my existence and made the run not only move a lot shorter and a lot longer just to get this done because they slow you down. These guys were roughly responsible for most of my deaths in this run, besides also those kaboomy zombies. I don't know if YouTube will let me actually say that one. But then we go into this little cavern. We set up these turrets to help us shoot. We have to do it for the mission. We're using our fists to turn on these machines. So it is allowed for this run. We then finally bring power back. We can use all of these wondrous machines. Not really, because we can't use any of the weapons that these machines can provide us, actually. And we do almost die here a few times to some of the zombies because they started to overwhelm me just a little bit. But after that, we continue on our little merry path and go to the main story mission. While fighting these guys off, we again nearly die. You'll be hearing me say I nearly died a lot in this run because it was very true. Now, we did try to complete all of the side objectives and side missions to this DLC. We were successful until the very end when I stopped caring and was so sick and tired of punching zombies and my ass cheeks being clapped by every zombie in existence, I kind of just gave up and wanted to beat this and be done with it in total. Also, if you're seeing this video, happy Halloween. This is a Halloween upload in one of our Halloween videos. Isn't that kind of neat? We definitely use a lot of our fists. A lot. It wouldn't be as fun if I showed you the lead pipe, so we're showing our ultimate a little bit more. Because let's be honest, no one wants to see me just running and saying, I used my fists, I used my fists, I used my fists. You guys kind of get the point. But we used our fists, and our fists do make good work out of normal zombies. However, during some of the boss encounters that we're going to face here, they were a little bit tricky, mostly due to an example, Pumpkinhead, who was just a very kind asshole to us and decided that we didn't want to live anymore, so he took us out multiple times. Thankfully, his health, I don't know if his health actually regenerates, but I kind of just kept taking him on over and over, and then I left for a little bit, and his health never went back up to full. So I'm very glad for that because of how many times I died. I definitely couldn't have taken this fight alone, that's for sure. And we just kind of kept punching him and punching him and punching him, and this is very tedious, and it's very...
You serious?
boring. Imagine sitting here running around waiting for your ultimate to load multiple times. Multiple. So I left for a little bit. That was my first attempt. I then had to go meet the lovely Dr. Ned himself. What a fine gentleman this guy is. He tells us all about how he just wanted to heal people. He just wanted everyone to feel nice. And then he turns around and he has the stupidest looking mustache on the planet. No, this is something that made me giggle as a kid, and with me and my family playing this game together, I definitely got a kick out of the little mustache every time we'd see it. And then we see some of my favorite enemies, I think, in this DLC overall, which was the zombie bats. These were pretty cool because they were not only not very deadly, but very, very great for my XP boosts and XP runs because I just kept reloading this area over and over again so I can get the XP drops from them because, strangely enough, these guys drop a lot of XP. Finally, back at level 14, we decided to take Pumpkinhead on again. He nearly kills us before we even get to him, but we kind of go Full Metal Rising. We then decide it's time to continue on with the story after dealing with Pumpkinhead, and we head to the little cemetery to meet our good friend Hank Reese. Now, I honestly have to say this is probably one of my favorite character designs in all of Borderlands, as well as my favorite reskin, which is the reskin of the Skags, as well as any Halloween themed character we could ever get. I think the werewolf Skags are some of the probably coolest enemies, and it's kind of a shame that they weren't ever kind of utilized as they were in here, where they feel like bosses. Now, as Brick, they don't really feel like bosses because you can just get up close, you can just continue to punch them. But this was such a cool sequence and such a cool cutscene to watch as a child when this game came out. I guess I wasn't a child, I was 12. But the Wereskag, what a cool, interesting little detail to add to it. And I honestly felt scared for this battle because I remember him re-healing. But you know how this part of the story goes now. We channeled our Metal Gear Rising and... Then with the Wereskag defeated, we decided to go off and try to fight his brethren, which was Redjack. As you can already see, we did beat 2 of them before. Now, I wasn't going to add all the footage of me kicking all of their asses, and I'm not going to add another Metal Gear Rising soundtrack meme here. That's for a later date, in a later time. But then we head over to Dead Haven, and Dead Haven was as miserable as you could probably imagine. I didn't record too much footage here. This was probably what took me the longest during the entire run itself, was just trying to get through here, honestly. This was so tedious because not only did I have to deal with the normal annoying zombies, I dealt with the kaboomers, and then I dealt with the ones who had turrets. So now I was getting shot at without being able to do anything against getting actually shot at. And then I had to defend this area. I wouldn't say this is where I died the most. At this point, I kind of knew what enemies I was dealing with. I kind of knew how to protect myself from dying as much. But there was a lot of cover hopping, a lot of cover running, and a lot of cover jumping, essentially. If there was cover, I was hiding like a little bitch behind it. And that was kind of the worst part of it, was just taking my damn time getting through all of this, which was just so boring. And then we finally, after so much monotonous, decided we could finally head towards the end, which is where we are right now, is going to, the end of this godforsaken DLC. Normally, I enjoy this DLC. Normally, I like this DLC. But after going through this, I don't think I ever want to deal with this DLC or this many enemies at once. Probably ever again. I don't think I'm going to enjoy that in the future. But without that being said, we can see that I kind of did a lot of punching, a lot more punching, and some more punching. So we're just going to kind of skip ahead to the fun part. So as we're making our way finally to Dr. Ned's little creepy island, we're finally so close. Now I had to cut about 2 hours of footage because I kind of was an idiot and I kept backtracking because I don't know how to look at a mile marker. And yeah, this is that provocation of what you can see. But we are finally almost there and we are heading to Ned here so ever shortly. And my brain at this point was so excited and so ready for this DLC to be just completely done and over with. But we walk through these corridors. We finally hear the man him smell like popcorn and he's pissed. But if you think this part is at all difficult or hard, I don't know what to tell you, because with Brick, he doesn't really stand a chance, and I'm not going to give you another meme, that's for a later time. But, I mean, just look at the damage we're putting off. Ned was a complete and utter cakewalk, and it was pretty funny to kick the shit out of him. Not gonna lie, pretty funny. Now, this scared the absolute ever-living shit out of me as a kid. Because holy shit, yeah, holy effing shit is exactly what I thought. And then he just goes into the meat grinder with his blood spewing out. Like, this was such a crazy sequence when I was a kid. And to go through this little maze was just grotesque and so fun. But you can kind of see what's about to come. I know you're waiting for it. But this boss battle wasn't exactly the hardest. I was just kind of ready for it to be done and over with. But it wasn't too difficult. He doesn't really have too many long-range attacks. He has a long attack radius, but he doesn't have a gun to really shoot you, and that kind of made this interesting and, not gonna lie, pretty easy. So I'll let the footage show itself. And this godforsaken DLC is finally complete and is finally beaten. Now, this was kind of a fun challenge, kind of not at the same time. It got difficult in some points, but that's the point of a challenge. If I just ran this with just my guns blazing, my fists running, and all these special fun abilities, it would have been a cakewalk. And honestly, these challenges give me a reason to play a game that I haven't played in quite some time. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching this little tidbit of the end of the video, and watch me one punch this guy to death.